Hello and welcome to another gate overview. Today we are looking at gate 30 and it's a double sun gate transit thing day. I don't know what order to say those words in. We've got the sun has just moved out of gate 49. It was there this morning, and this evening I'm in England, so this is GMT at 23:21 on the 12th of February. The sun moves into gate 30. And you can see here from the mandala that gate 30 was still at around sort of 10 o'clock-ish on the clock, if we look at the mandala as a clock. And it is in the emotional solar plexus, so that's the triangle on the side there. And the 29 is a sacral gate, so that is in the red square. And the 30th gate, what can I tell you? So much I can tell you about the 30th gate. Okay, but that's what it looks like on the mandala. It's called the recognition of feelings, gate 30. It's the clinging fire, is the other name for it. Oh God, there it's in the root center. Well, that's wrong, isn't it? Oh, look, I wonder if I can change that. I can change that. Hey, wonders of modern technology. It's not in this, it's not in the sacral either, is it? There we go. It's in the solar plexus center. Yay. All right, that is now correct. It is the gate 30 is in the solar plex and gate 29 is in the sacral. I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so here we go. The 30th gate, the clinging fire. It's emotional. It has its polarity in the 29 and it's pointing down towards the root center and the adrenal system for its harmonic gate, the 41, which is the gate of decrease. It's the start codon. It's the gate that starts off our new year. And together, the 41 and the 30, they form the channel of recognition, which is a design of focused energy, energy that is focused on feeling. The heading in the Ravi Ching, above all the lines, it says freedom recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate. So this is the gate of the fates, gate 30, and it is this limitation accepted as a fate that makes the abstract process so fascinating. And it's what gives this stream from the 41 to the 30 and then to the 36, 35 its name. This whole stream is called the Human Experiential Way, the stream of feeling. And it's actually a stream that is active for everybody right now because we have Pluto in gate 41. And so that is hooking up to the sun here in gate 30. The North Node is in gate 36 and Jupiter is in 35. So we're all sharing our fantasies and desires, and we're all having experiences and crisis and maybe finding progress and change at the end of it all. But as long as we're all sharing, it doesn't matter because that's what the collective stream is all about. The 30th gate is always getting in the way of what we think or what we expect will happen. If you have the 30th gate in your design, there's no predictability for you in the way in which things are going to work out, no logical predictability. It's not like you can say, oh, if I do this and that, then I'll get there, because that's the other side of the body graph. That's where one step leads to the next, and you've got that logical progression. If you do each of the steps, then you get to a place where you think you're going to get to, you know what you're going to get. In the abstract process, the 30th gate changes all of that. The 30th gate says, you thought that if you did this and this, that you were going to get that. Okay, well, try this. If you do this and you end up that, you might end up over there, but you might go there. The fates step in. It's like a man makes his plans and the gods laugh. And this may not sound great. It may sound a little bit unstable, and it is to a degree, but it's also the gift of the 30th gate because it brings diversification to the human experiential way. It says that there is no way in which we simply follow a pattern. Can you imagine if there was a recipe book and there was one recipe in there that everybody followed all the time, and we followed every step exactly the same. We all did the same steps in the same order, using the same ingredients in the same amounts. Everybody would end up eating the same food, prepared the same way. How dull. It's the last thing that this experiential way wants to do. It doesn't want to repeat itself. It doesn't want that. That is instant boredom and restlessness. We'd end up like McDonald's all the time, having that strict process so that no matter what country you're in the world, wherever you go into that McDonald's, you know exactly what you're getting, theoretically, at least, if you do go into a McDonald's. Yeah, the 30th gate is not McDonald's. The 30th gate says, look, every meal can be different. And then we have to accept that every meal can be different. We don't know what we're going to get. We have to accept that every experience will carry within it the potential of the unexpected, because that's freedom, recognized as an illusion and a limitation, accepted as a fate. This is the beauty of this gate of desire, to surrender to whatever the experience is going to be, not for what its result could be or might be, but to be able to be there in the process, only for the process, only for the experience. Now, obviously, the 30th gate is an emotional gate. And if it's in a defined solar plex center, we know automatically in human design that whenever the solar plex is defined, it's the emotional inner authority. And so for this being, their authority is going to be rooted in their feelings. And the feeling to go through and experience the feeling and to enter into an experience completely, to be ready to do that. It's something that can only come through clarity in the wave. And there's no truth in the now. This is the mantra for the defined solar plex. It doesn't matter which emotional stream you've got coming in. If you have a defined solar plex, there's no truth in the now. And yet the fire of desire, it burns so deep that it is often exceedingly difficult for people with the 30th gate in a defined emotional system to control that fire long enough to be able to get the clarity they need, to make sure that it's the experience that is pulling them in and not the dream of what that experience may lead to. And if you're trapped in the dream of what the experience may lead to, you miss everything. And then the fates will step in and they will punish you. So the 30th gate, it is not a roll gate. And yet, if you look at each of the 6 lines of the 30, you're dealing with themes of how to deal with life itself. Whether that's through composure, pragmatism, resignation, burnout, irony, or enforcement. Those are the 6 lines of gate 30. And through genetic continuity, each of the aspects, each of those lines, they're speaking to us clearly about how we can accept the limitation of what experience is. And all of this is about dealing with the phenomena of the 35th gate at the end of the stream that says, here is our great expectation, that we are going to gain something from this journey, that there will be progress and change. Remember here that the secret is to have a fire and a desire just for the experience itself. Recognition of the potential for change, it takes place in a wave. As the thing with the wave, it moves from hope to pain. And the process of gaining clarity is about tuning into the wave. And you take a piece of information here, and then you find another piece of information a bit further on. I'm up in my wave. How am I feeling about that now? Now I'm going down in my wave. So how do I feel about that now? And then over time, you find that clarity. But it's a long process sometimes, and it's not necessarily easy. And it might depend on whether you've got a conscious definition or an unconscious definition. But that wave, it's going to move from hope to pain. And the true potential of emotional awareness lies between these 2 highly energetic poles. And it's important to realize that emotional awareness with direct access to the throat, it's by its very nature, it's energized because the solar plexus is a motor. So the feeling for change must move through the wave. It must take its time. The feeling of pain which initiates the yearning for change and curses the fates, or it's the feeling of hope which initiates a yearning for change and praise to the fates. The binary that we live in. This is the potential awareness that can recognize the feeling and leave its outcome in the hands of the fates. The clinging fire, it's the gate of the recognition of feelings, and it is the emotional clarity to establish a feeling or not, to be fixed on a feeling. And it is that feeling that opens up the possibility to engage in experience. It is about as down to earth a gate, as earthy and fatalistic a gate as you're going to meet. Everything about the abstract process is about its experiential nature. And the abstract process will never experience awareness. By the time that the rest of the circuitry that is going out of the emotional system has gained the capacity for spiritual awareness, by the time that change comes, this is a process that will be outside of that. Now, the abstract process is a purely human process. It's the human experiential way. The rave that is coming in 2027, they won't have this. They won't experience the human experiential way. It's not for them. Just as the spiritual awareness that's coming to the solar plexus is not going to be for us. No. So it's our evolutionary process, our experiential process. And the 30th hexagram, in that case, it represents something unusual. It represents the potential to feel and to long for an experience. And without this potential, we wouldn't have our history. We would not have had all the crisis and change and progress that this whole stream of energy has brought. Clinging fire, the gate of feeling. Its potential is the awareness to recognize a feeling or not, the energy to generate a feeling or not. And don't be misled by the word awareness. I mean, it has a huge mythology around it, does it? It's also got a life of its own, this word awareness. This is the energy to feel or not. And its potential is hunger or thirst recognition. Everything about the experiential stream is the hunger in the beginning, from that 41st hexagram, the initiator codon. The hunger at the beginning and then feeling full or satiated at the end. The experiential way is not about satisfaction. Satisfaction comes on the other side through mastery of a pattern or a system. On this side, being satiated is what happens. You have the experience, you feel full from the experience, but not necessarily satisfied, because what you want is another experience. 30th hexagram is the capacity to recognize the feeling to eat and drink. We have the thirst and hunger that is within this wave. When we explored the 49th gate, we learned about the need for humanity to be able to satisfy the demand of hunger. People must be fed. And you see the primary human experience is the recognition of hunger and the energy to go and pursue that hunger until you find food and you eat. So just as food is a fundamental drive for the tribal stream, sexuality is a fundamental drive in this stream of feeling. They're locked together, actually, in the process. Separating sex and food is tricky. They're very much wound together. Yeah, there's a whole subject there I'm not going into. So freedom, above the lines, freedom, recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate. This is the nature of what we are moving towards. Freedom from the illusion of freedom. Freedom doesn't exist. The recognition is that we all fit into a pattern. We're all part of a program and a mechanism. And in that, we all have our place. And in that limitation, there is grace. It's not a punishment. This is the nature of what we're moving into. From what Ra told us about the rave, they will have their place. They will not be after experiences. That's not there for them. That logical side, they will know they fit into the pattern because they'll be part of a penta, a conscious penta. But that's not for us. That's the nature of the mutation and where it's taking us within our evolution. So the quality, the emotional quality of this gate is driving us towards this. It is an extraordinary thing to recognize that the deepest force in the emotional motor of this stream, what it is really looking for is to get out of the experiential business, to be satisfied with the pattern that gives value to the nature of what it is to be. The grounding to the sun in the 30th gate is the earth in gate 29, the abysmal, the gate of saying yes. This is the sacral gate, and it is in the same circuit as the 30, the collective abstract circuit. So there's a deep connection here. Gate 29 is saying yes to the experience. It is bringing the power of the sacral to the commitment of its yes in order to discover something new. It's in the channel of discovery, after all. So the trick is to say yes to what is correct. And the secret, as always, with this circuit is waiting. Both the 29 and the 30 are conditioned directly by the format energy of maturation in the 53-42. The experience is cyclical. And what we are committed to one day may no longer be of interest the next, because it is the wave that dominates. Experientially, we commit ourselves to something that must be completed, because this is the mechanic. This is what the format energy tells us, beginnings and endings. But it doesn't necessarily have to be completed by us. Not if we don't have all of the elements that are concerned. If we haven't got the 42, we're not here to end things. If we haven't got the 53, we're not here to begin things. The nature of the format goes through a design anyway when there's a gate there that's activated. But it's one of those things that we don't feel we have to do everything, because that's not necessarily true. If you have the format channel, yes, then you are here to have the full experience of the cycle of beginning and ending. I have just gate 42. I'm quite good at bringing things to a close, but then I get also tripped up with this, because once I've started a book or I've started watching a film, it's really difficult for me not to finish it, even if I'm not enjoying it. So I don't know, that's probably not self. Hey, whatever. So yeah, and it's the same if I start knitting something, or if I start doing my embroidery, I need to finish that, because that's what really feeds me, is the finishing process. It take me ages to start it. It's that finishing is what's important. So, but if we don't have that, we don't have the 42 or the 33, which is another ending point for this abstract circuit, then perhaps what we do have is some sort of responsibility for passing on whatever that experience is, so that it is completed by others who have the correct design for it. So we don't have to hold everything like this. We can, okay. It's like the delegation that comes in the 45-21. You don't have to do everything ourselves. This is something manifestors learn in their process. Yes, they're here to initiate, but not necessarily to do all the other parts of the process. So it's all such an interesting learning process that we're all here to explore and to find things on together. So anyway, this is gate 30, and yeah, we're on into the experiential way. If you have any comments on that, if you recognize being in the full stream, perhaps you don't ever have anything in this stream at all. I've got a friend who's got nothing in this stream. So for her, it's going to be, well, she's quite aware of herself and in tune with the transit. So it'll be interesting to see how she feels from that. But if you've got some of this, what does it feel like to have the rest of it hooked up? No, it's an interesting kind of process, isn't it? So take care of yourselves, and as always, go gently. And I'll be back soon with with line 1, and yeah, then we'll be back tomorrow morning with the next one. So you've got quite a few coming all in one go here. So yes, I hope you're enjoying them. I hope you're getting value from them. I'm loving doing these reports. Okay, I'll see you soon.